sure he'll resolve this.
Ah, gotcha.
There we go. It usually takes a couple of seconds, right?
It does. It does. It's that strange little. It's building anticipation, David, which is the key to a titillating, tantalizing show, as you know so well.
This is why I have you on, brother. I
Absolutely.
need this advice. I need this comfort to let me know exactly how I'm supposed to be running it. It's very difficult to do it on your own. I tell you, it's crazy. I'm loving it though. I'm loving it. How are you keeping?
I'm doing well. I'm just thinking to add to the point of you being the master of making people wait for shit. Crystal Skull sessions. I've always said it's not about you shaking your balls. It's about us waiting to see you shake your balls. And there is the crux.
Therein lies the crux, man. I know
Absolutely.
it's crazy. I was trying not to because I think it wasn't implied, but it went into my brain. The thought of like, yeah, this is what I'm doing again. I'm making people wait in the Zoom chat, and then and I was just like, no, you don't have to watch the show. You can do whatever you want. You can have your dinner. You can have your cup of tea. Forget about the show. There's the Zoom link. You don't have to go in at this. It's not like how I used to make you wait for 5 hours, and God love the person that came on last, right?
Oh my God! God love the person who came on first. That's the death slot. I remember. I think it was like the third time that I did the Crystal Skull with you, and I had the usual Maximillion Foy rent a crowd that I brought along. We were all waiting, and it was during the scorching summer heat, and the World Cup was on, and they were showing the England match on the big screen, and you came down and you said, "Oh." Just we kind of have to wait till the thing is over, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, blah blah blah, sure, I can go on first. And I was laughing then. I was like, no way, it's going to happen.
I remember that.
And I'm on first, fuck's sake.
And you went on first, and it was randomly picked. It wasn't deliberate.
Absolutely, I know. It's just one of these. You could if you were to bet on it, you would lose the fucking house. But these are the coincidences.
You had so many people
occur.
with you. I remember you took the whole corner there, that whole side where all the seats are primarily, and it's by the emergency exit. We had to keep the emergency exit open because it was absolutely sweltering. It was so hot, right? Wasn't it? That was the summer.
It was absolutely, yeah.
Hot summer night. It was like you saw everybody came in early, and I remember as well, like, because I hated that stuff because that was out of my control. That was like, the bar saying, "Oh, like, like, yeah, we got to do this," and I'm like, "Oh," and I usually get known about this stuff 30 minutes when before I arrive or just when I arrive in. Oh, by the way, there's a delay, and yeah, I have to deal with.
I thought it was
shit.
a mutiny, though. Was it not a mutiny? You were told about this just after the threshold where you could actually do anything about it.
Oh
so
yeah.
Sorry, lads, you're just gonna have to wait.
That's the best time to tell somebody something, apparently, especially when they're
100%.
running a gig. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I miss those. I miss the
Absolutely.
live gigs. I miss that stuff. Miss your performances, actually, man. I haven't seen.
I
you
miss my
perform.
performances.
I haven't seen that in age. How do you? So I was trying to introduce you and stuff like that, and obviously, you're one of the most modest men I've ever met in my life. But like, do you produce all of your tunes for live? Because I know we
Yes.
touched on this. Tell me a little bit about that, man, because that's really interesting.
Essentially, as you're aware, I was in a band before this called the Actual Mafia, and when there was the Actual Mafia before that was a band called the Filthy Kings, and a couple of things that band had in common. They were a little bit musically apart from each other, but I suppose the endings of the two bands were very similar, as in everyone was like, oh yeah, we're doing great, we're getting a few fans in, we're doing fantastic, putting on good shows, but we have other stuff going on in our lives, so we have to finish it up. And I thought there were two great bands that just kind of went the way of the dodo. But I had absolutely no production experience whatsoever. I got by for years with just surrounding myself with people who could do all this stuff. I had some great people like working on music with me, and I was like, I'm just going to have to do this. So I'm absolutely terrible at it. First and foremost, I just want to let you know that I'm not the best producer in the world, or even coming close to I'm not the best producer in this room at the moment, and I'm on my own. But I've done FL Studio for a while, and I've been trying to build up my knowledge on that, and I've been crossing it over with Reaper and getting my up. And I got a Focusrite a little box for upgrading my sound. I got my little microphone here that you can't see because I've just hidden it out of shot. So I'm trying to upgrade myself, and my production has gotten better and better and better to the point where I can put out a single on SoundCloud now and be actually pretty happy with it, because that was my downfall. Is that I can't put that up. It's kind of shit. But at the moment, I'm happy with the stuff, so I'm actually getting to put it up at the moment.
Brilliant. And you did release a single recently.
I did. It's a catchy little tune called Fabergé Bitch.
Fabergé Bitch.
Fabergé Bitch.
Tell me the story about this, because it's almost like an alter ego of you as well, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's semi-autobiographical. Long time ago, I was involved in the Dublin drag scene. I won't say I was a drag queen, because we were kind of like mad young fellas that would occasionally wear women's clothes. I love it. And I did this with my very good friend Jamie Bulger, who is probably watching at the moment. And we were kind of a notorious drag duo around the place. Like we did punk rock, we did blood, we did zombie stuff, we did like every sort of crazy gimmick under the sun we did. Yeah. And just in that situation, we ran into so many crazy people and so many amazing drag queens, amazing performers. But it was always funny, because the ones we found the most interesting were the ones who were just absolutely terrible at it. They were just awful. They looked terrible. They couldn't lip sync, but they were the most interesting characters.
And they were probably giving it the most socks, right?
Exactly, 100%. Like without the polish, without anything else, these people were just awesomely odd folks that we had met because of this situation. Yeah. So I started calling them Fabergé bitches, because like they're like, you know, everyone else is like, who the fuck are these people? But they, to themselves, they're like a Fabergé egg. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, she a Fabergé bitch. So it's like my own version of like a bougie bitch.
I love it. I love it. That's great, man. That's great. And I didn't know this about you as well. This is something I never knew. This was something you said it was a good few years ago.
I think we started in 2006, and Skinny Twins finished up in 2011, and I kept on doing it until about 6 years ago. So 2014, 2015 was when I finished up. But it's actually funny. I was only talking about this the other day. People were asking me, well, you know, how come you did drag but didn't actually do drag? And I was like, do you know what? Because I always wanted to be a wrestler. I think doing drag is the closest thing. Yeah, that you can get to be a wrestler without actually, you know, throwing people around the place. You throw yourself around the place, and you dress up in a ridiculous costume, and you put on a funny voice, you insult people.
Is that unique, the whole drag with the sort of punk mix? Because I wouldn't be aware of that. Or is that a common thing? Do people do that?
Absolutely not. It's like there's a whole scene of it now. It's called kind of trash is what it's called. So it would be influenced by metal, burlesque. It would be influenced by lots of different things. There are lots of English drag queens who do it. Guys called like Johnny Woo and Lee Bowery was a very, very influential drag performer who just went on TV dressed insanely. And this was back in the 80s. So people like that were the basis of what we did. Of course, we did it terribly. we were like the Tesco value version of these people. But we were the only ones in Ireland doing it at the time. And I'm still very proud of it. Still get a lot of people go to me about it. So.
And obviously the community here has grown exponentially. Has like that drag community and everything grown huge now?
The drag community here is absolutely fantastic. There's literally so many young people doing it. And there's because of that they're so diverse. Like you have people just doing crazy boylesque weird stuff. You have the female impersonator queens, you have vampire queens, gothic queens, you just have mad mentaler queens. Like there's such a great diversity. So it's really something people should do before I feel like there's like a firewall between people and drag in Ireland. People will watch RuPaul's Drag Race and stuff like that, but won't make the jump to go and see a drag show in Dublin. There's so many wonderful people involved that they really should cross the divide.
That's it. No, it is about crossing the divide. I guess it's like, you know, it's a new concept, and it's an unfortunate thing because people tie it in with their own sexuality, right? When they watch it, people tie it in. Well, I'm heterosexual, I shouldn't, you know. And it's not necessarily judgmental, but it's subconscious, right? And it's
100%. Yeah. It's like I think it's a gay activity. So it's funny because when I brought my brother for the first time to see the drag show, he was just mesmerized. He was like, "You mean to tell me that's a woman? But look at her arse."
Yeah. I mean, I went to California there at Christmas time, and we went to a drag show, and it was fantastic. It was phenomenal. Absolutely. And I never actually been physically at one, you know. and they're throwing their dollars at them, and they're just so into it. I think I told you about this.
You did.
And it's beautiful. And then like my mom and sister are saying like, oh, I felt so empowered as a woman. And then I was kind of thinking, Jesus, yeah, like that's a guy dressed up as a woman, but he's empowering women, which is just,
but this is it,
crazy.
It's a awesome hyper-ass version of it's a man portraying a woman as whatever their interpretation of a goddess is, whether they think a goddess is a Dita Von Teese burlesque woman, or whether a goddess is, you know, your David Bowie, what was her name, Amanda Lear type, big porcelain lady with massive hair, or Farrah Fawcett, or it's really latching on to their perfect form of womanhood and advertising it for the world to see, and it really is fantastic for women. I don't know if I explained that right, but I think you know what I'm going on about.
It sounded good to me. I don't know.
See, a lot of these things are fine in my brain, and then when I put them out there,
I know.
Like words.
I know. I'm the same. Even like as an interviewer or something, sometimes I'm a little bit. I can get into like some sort of an infinity loop of words that just don't make sense, and I'm like, I hope they didn't notice, but they mightn't. But then when somebody watches it back, because this is recorded, right?
Exactly.
Like, oh god, it's never as bad as you think in the moment, though. I have to.
You think it's like it's a perfect stream of consciousness. Just think of it like that.
Yeah,
I'm offering up here a perfect, unfiltered stream of consciousness,
Same,
and it
bro.
just is what it is. It'll be how it will be.
That's how I like it. You know, I like the natural form of chit chat, and I try to keep it as natural as possible for the show, because I want it to feel like a conversation, like somebody's the fly on the wall and we're just having a chat. I think that's kind of the goal, but obviously like an orchestrated a little bit, you know, so I don't go, because we could talk about one topic for so long, you know, depending on the people. You're one of those people where I could chat to you for about one thing, and I'm sure we have, you know, for a little bit too long. So it's always nice to do that. I really want to play because we're still on the topic, and just in case we move on, we might still be talking about drag, but I really want to play the guys Fabergé Bitch, which is your recent single on Spotify, and
it's actually on SoundCloud, David. I haven't made the jump to Spotify yet, but it's Maximillion Foy, just Maximillion Foy.
Brilliant.
I feel so bad after your last guest was talking about rappers having accents, because I'm like, Jesus, what accent do I have on this?
Well, I guess we'll find out now.
Well, if I do sound like LL Cool J, it's intentional for the purposes of the song, all right?
But you know what? Even I think the message was as well is that you're not deliberately, if someone is putting on an accent, because that's a really good thing to point out at the end of the day. You're not trying to really conform to any sort of like, you know, commercial need for your own sort of capitalistic benefit or anything like that. You're doing, if one is putting on an accent, not saying you, but anybody, you know what I mean, for a show or whatever, it's to do because they're connected to that personality or accent. So like, for example, like Steve-O, he's putting on like a farmer accent, so he's connected to that, you know, in that way. But just if you're connected to a specific accent, then dude, there's nothing wrong with that, of course. You know?
His farmer character is a character as well, and this Fabergé Bitch, as you'll hear in the song, is definitely a character.
All right, here we go. And I heard this song earlier on today. I actually fucking love it, so let's do it.
All I wanna know is who the fuck does she think she is going on over here looking like that? She nasty. She a Fabergé bitch. Hey Fabergé bitch, where you get that weed? Where you get the stripper heel? Where you get the nails did? You gon' drop that mix and say you gon' sink that Britney shit. You gon' kill her wrong way. Once you chuck that dick in, Shawty's on fire. Yeah, she got lashes on Amazon. Slave to the rhythm. Grace Jones on the rhythm to the minimum wage. So what when she paid? Cause she rollin' them Louboutins, beat the face, all tea, no shade. Suck a dick 100. You want fucks on that B double. You want trick it, it cost nothing. She bluntin'. She bossy like a peacock. She bossy like a peacock. She got pleather on that plastic pussy. Tweety bird, pleather on that plastic pussy. Tweety bird, I think she looks lovely. She probably fucked me if I wasn't so ugly. Hey Fabergé bitch, where you get that weed? Where you get the stripper heel? Where you get the nails did? You gon' drop that ecstasy. You gon' sink that Britney shit. You gon' kill her wrong way. Once you chuck that dick in. drop. She tastes like Coca-Cola, I call the lollipop. Born on a Monday, died on a Sunday. Bitch made me forget my name like Solomon Grundy. 5-figure discount, 5 for the shuffle. You can find it downtown, that's where she hustle. Make that money, bitch, flick that muscle. Uptown Bruno, Pedro, tussle, hooked. Diamonds and pearls just like the Prince track. Draws to the side, lays front to the back. Hey, Savage, bitch, where you get that weave? Where you get the stripper heel? Where you get the nails did? You gon' drop that ecstasy. You gon' sink that Britney shit. You gon' kill her wrong way. Once you tuck that dick, hit me. She make you holler for $1, ho. Do something strange for a little piece of change. They say she got it from her mama, yo. She banged a war drum, Empress of the jungle. Never seen a killer queen looking so humble. And the moral of the story is this: y'all nasty ass bitches, nasty girl. Y'all make the world go round. Hey, Savage, bitch, where you get that weave? Where you get the stripper heel? Where you get the nails did? You gon' drop that ecstasy. You gon' see that Britney shit. You gon' kill the wrong way. Once you tuck that dick in. That's right. So you better tuck that dick in. Yes, 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 yes. So you better tuck that dick in.
I ain't never had that ever happen to me.
That's awesome, man. That's great. So how okay, we're playing it again. So that's absolutely. So you've done all that was all yourself at home, working on FL Studios.
Sure was. It's actually gas. When I was listening to that, it brought me back. I wrote that about maybe a year ago, and I was in a small pub in Longford, and the Levy's is the name of the pub, and I was flipping pissed. And I had my phone out, and this song came to me, and I started putting it down. But the best part of writing a song like that is trying to explain the lyrics to your father, because I always have to run my lyrics by my dad, and he was like, I don't know if I like it. Show the gays and like it.
I love that he gets it in that way, you know what I mean?
He does.
Oh my god, that's fantastic. No, it's actually really. I was really surprised actually, because it was really good production.
Yeah, as I said, I'm getting there, but it's a lot of trial and error. I'm just I'm using this time to level up on a few bits and pieces. So I've been putting in the effort. Unemployment will do that, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, but that's like, I honestly, man, I couldn't be more insistent in the fact that is, I implore people to behave like that and to put 100%. In as much as their energy as they want to, because obviously it can be draining anyway, you know, as in like psychologically and emotionally draining, the situation. And everybody's, people say, oh, we're all in it together. Like people react to it differently. People are, you know, in different financial situations. People are in different relationship situations, you know, with whatever, whether it's friends, close ones, families. So everybody has a right to react differently to this. But what I've definitely found solace in is actually taking action, whether it's something creative or creating something. I think is so important in this time. So it's great.
Absolutely. And I think it's the most important thing for mental health for myself personally. Like, I'm not going to speak to anyone else's mental health, but if I didn't have this crack to do, if I didn't have my laptop here, my inbox, my microphone, I'd have gone crazy and possibly inflicted a grievous bodily harm to everybody in this apartment block.
That's what Steve-O said earlier on.
The energy has to go somewhere.
It's especially if somebody is so hyper kind of creative, right? But I think everybody has creativity in them, right? It's just some are more aware of it.
For sure. This actually is something I was talking about with my partner Craig not too long ago. Have you seen a program called The Midnight Gospel? Mm-mm. It's essentially a podcast set to trippy visuals. The visuals are really, really trippy. And the podcast is very, you're talking about hallucinogenics, you're talking about the meaning of life, the meaning of death.
I like that.
It's all very, but he was saying that you really need to be high to enjoy this. And my, I suppose, comeback was our brains are set up in a way that we're predetermined to react to sound, to react to stimulus, to react to we seek out anything with color, or anything with anything that will speak to our creative internal voice, I suppose. And something like that, like I can just sit down and watch something like that and take myself to different places, different journeys without anything else. Like I couldn't sit down, open the door of a fridge, look in and go on a similar journey. But I think it's interesting how we kind of cut ourselves off from using our own environments without alcohol, without drugs to entertain ourselves and to do what our brain is supposed to do. And actually, you shouldn't have to teach your brain or show your brain a different way of working.
100%.
To enjoy what's around you.
100%. Yeah, I wonder if it's all chemical. I mean, there's chemical in there, right? That's and then there's also the kind of neurotic. By the way, that's the word, but it's the electrical part then of the brain. By the way, guys, we have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah,
we're not scientists. We're not neuroscientists. We are artists. So
we are men of science.
We are. maybe we're making a fuckload of sense here, but
this is it 100%.
Yeah. So it's interesting though, no, because then that does influence your perception. Like I'm totally getting it, like, you know. And some person might sit really bored on watching something, or just maybe their brain just can't digest it. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm sure there's many things that my brain couldn't digest if I was watching it. Perhaps it also relates to one's own open-mindedness, along with their creativity. If some people say that there's a left, that some people use their left side more than their right, and vice versa. Left being the more logic, right being the more or it's more active, right?
I think I use a little strip straight down the middle.
Right, you're right in the middle. I think you're fully right, man. Sorry for assuming here, but you are the most right-minded person, I think, in the most positive and beautiful way. No, I'm only messing. I have no idea.
You're 100% correct.
Oh, look at us.
But that's it. It's interesting as well, because I think that this lockdown is activating giving us scenarios that are activating different parts of our creative profile, if you know what I mean. Are you a Fate No More fan? Have you ever listened to Fate No More?
I like that one song that's just phenomenal.
Yeah. I get that.
Whatever that song is, I can't remember it now.
They have an album from 1992 called Angel Dust, and Mike Patton, the singer, he wrote a lot of the lyrics by subjecting himself to extreme isolation. And just seeing what he would come out like if he locked himself in a room with no TV or whichever for 24 hours. No, I think the story was he locked himself in a room with just a TV for however long, and he ended up writing a song about Madonna's midlife crisis. So it's like it's just weird to do this. Like,
don't bring a TV to isolation. Bring a guitar.
It was like something like infomercials or just had MTV on for 24 hours.
Oh, that sounds like torture. Jeez, I'd rather without the TV, seriously.
Oh, MTV when MTV was actual music and when music and Beavis and Butthead and things like that.
That's different. That's acceptable. Different. Yeah, no, that's acceptable for sure. Yeah, no, that's okay. Sorry for misunderstanding that. Yeah, amazing. No, it is. It's crazy how we do that, and I guess it's like you've had phases, I guess, because you've done a few projects and you've had breaks. You've had projects start and finish and stuff like that, like myself as well. And you've had long gaps. Have you noticed like a real big sort of effect on you and your psychological self, like when you're not creating?
Yeah, because I think I'm one of these strange people who, if I go out for pints, I kind of sit to the back and I observe a little bit until I get twisted drunk, and then I'm just like,
you're the center.
But,
then
it's being on stages. There's a release that I kind of need sometimes, and I'm kind of not getting it. That's why I've been putting a lot of drag videos, funny videos up on Instagram, just an outlet where I can just play out, and it's something I haven't done before. So it's something to keep me occupied and to keep my creative juices flowing. Because as you probably know for yourself, like, you've had to adapt with putting on gigs. You've had a lot of stuff that was going to be fantastic and will be fantastic again that you've had to put on the back burner. I feel the same way. So I'm just kind of clawing at what I can to keep myself going and keep myself creative, and I'm trying to do something like what you've done. Like, you've galvanized and brought together so many people to do these interviews, and I think these are fantastic, because I see so many people at the Crystal Skulls with various different shows that you do, and I know them to see, and I wave at them and you smile at them and you say, God, their songs were great, but you never really know anything about them or who they are. And I think when you know an artist's story, or where you can get a grip of an artist's personality. And your last guest actually made a really, really good point about the Late Late Show and things like that, not putting on Irish artists. The only way like that we get to know if we really, really like somebody is by associating a personality. Like, let's say you're Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's crazy. Her personality is this. I like the mixture of the two. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Prince, if you heard Prince's songs on the radio, like they're one thing and you may love them, but what really puts you over the top is you're like, this motherfucker is crazy. You know what I mean? And you get their own personality that adds such an extra dimension to Irish people's songs, and we don't usually get that. So it's really, really nice to hear the voice behind these lyrics and these songs and these musical ideas. So fair play to you, Mr. Kozak. You're doing us a service.
It adds a lot more depth, to the understanding of that person and their expression, right? It's not just their expression, it's just them as a whole. You're getting to know them more. Yeah, no, look, it's amazing. I'm surprised I didn't, like, I'm not surprised. What am I trying to say? It's like, it's a shame I didn't do it soon. Not even that doesn't even mean anything. But like, it's good that I've realized how important that is. You know, I think I have, you know, I think I've realized now doing this a couple of weeks how important it really is to connect with somebody on all the levels, on the artistic, on the personal, on the kind of, like, even for the benefit of motivating other people, you know what I mean, or helping other people find something from within themselves. I'm definitely learning so much from the guests, as I'm sure a lot of the viewers are, which is great. But I miss the gigs. Like, what can I say? I just now there's the gigs that's lacking, right? Which is crazy. But
you've so many projects on the go that I am very, very interested in. I think that your FIFA soundtrack idea is absolutely fantastic. It's the same as the Vice City soundtrack. They're just like, every time you bring up a gig, I'm like, yes, please sign me up.
So the FIFA one actually was pitched to me by none other than Niall Dunphy from Deuce, the Rory Gallagher tribute band. Yeah, so he pitched that to me about twice last year. Once in July, where I was obviously at the height of the Vice City sort of thing. Yeah. And I just couldn't think of another project to add because I've added so many at that time. Well, I didn't. I think I had Rockstar Karaoke, I had Vice City, and I had the Bowie, and it was a busy summer. And I was flying out. And so I just didn't have time for another project. And then at the end of the year, I think before Christmas, he just wrote to me again and just went, FIFA? And I just said, yeah. Call you tomorrow. And we had a call and I was like, let's do it. I booked the gig already. All right, I'll contact Kieran. I'll do this. Bam. What's the story? What's this? And that's how I work. Like, if the time is right or I'm on the right mental wavelength and psychological, spiritual wavelength, whatever it is, I'll go on it. But if I don't feel it, or I'm in the middle of something or whatever, then it just can't be even touched. I can't even suggest it. So it was good timing. But yeah, no, I'm glad we have the Beastie Boys together. And I think
100%.
Kieran Green has a question for us both. What is happening with your Beastie Boys gig? So, Colin, how about you fill this one in, brother? Huh?
I think we're good to go when the shutters are drawn off these pubs. We will be there just posing our way through intergalactic planetary. Yeah. I think I don't know about you, but lockdown has given me a great opportunity to just learn a lot of these words, because I think as being the I suppose the bigger Beastie Boys fan of the group, I had an impediment, as in I thought I knew all the songs, and it's only when you learn them. And Paul, for people who don't know, is our MCA. Yeah. Paul is like really down for getting the words right.
He's a perfectionist. It's amazing.
He is, but it's great.
It's love. It's great to have that. The three of us all bring something different to the plate, and I love that in a project, especially a small one, right? Because it's like we're much closer in together. It's more focused. It's more highly focused on each one. So I love that so much. And yeah, just uncovering that fact that, you know, Paul is so meticulous with all the little pieces, and we need somebody like that.
We definitely do, because if I can be meticulous in different ways, but as in learning stuff and sitting down and actually committing to something that takes more than 5 minutes, I can be a little bit hit or miss. But you know what? Actually, this is on the Beastie Boys side of it. I love how when we first put this up, it was met with an overwhelmingly bitchy response from the internet, and I think we're changing it up. I thought some of when someone said this looks like some redneck shit.
I know, and I was trying not to take him personally, because obviously I'm not used to that, because the projects generally have been quite safe. No, I thought this was a safe project. I thought this was pretty standard.
I would love to go and see a Beastie Boys tribute.
I know, man, same.
And I think it's me though. I think it's me. I look like Uncle Fester. No, man,
pictures. It's not you. It's not you. I think it's the whole idea. I think it's the whole idea was maybe misinterpreted by some, and you're going to get a bit of hate. And I've realized that you're going to get a little bit of misunderstanding. You're going to get a little bit of hate, and if you don't, that means you're not doing well. As in, like, you're not doing well in life. You should be getting a little bit of hate now and then. So that's good. 100%. It's necessary. And I think it's just misconstrued.
I'm so excited to just unleash this on people, because I think when people actually see this, because I will admit now, and I can be a little bit like, oh, this isn't great. You know what I mean? But there's certain points in the practices where I'm like, yep.
It's some part. It's just it. And a lot of the full songs, we've gone through a lot now. We're on 12 songs, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
yeah. I think it's 16 including the band stuff, but we haven't got the band stuff. But
the band stuff was a little trickier, yeah, because as well, like, there was a few songs where I'm still emceeing and or I'm still rapping, right, and I'm playing the drums, so I need to get used to that as well. So there's a little bit of stuff to work with, but it sounds so powerful when we're on the same level, and we're all, we all have every single part perfected and learned.
I think people as well don't realize that this is a show. This is not just three guys from various different parts of Ireland going on and do Beastie Boys songs. There's the costumes, there's bells and whistles, there's Mixmaster Mike, there's a band section. This is actually going to be unbelievable.
yeah. I forgot, of course, we have Dimitri D as well as Mixmaster Mike, who was on the show.
Absolutely.
A couple of weeks ago.
I heard he did a great set.
Oh, he was amazing. He's just a gentleman, and I'll definitely be bringing him back on for a live set as well, and bringing back a bit more live stuff to the shows. But I'm really looking forward to it. But when will the gates open? When will the gates open? When will we be able to do it? I had to postpone it till possibly next year, because it just looks so, it's, for me, I'm a little bit, there's a little bit of, not sureties that tie in with let's say doing an event at this time, or as in, like, planning for the future, right? Because it's like, okay, I know that people are going to really, really want to go to more gigs after this, because, we haven't had it. People haven't been out for gigs in a long time. So there's going to be more inclined bookings and things like that. But also there's a more chance of people sort of being a bit nervous as well, because of the whole virus thing and stuff like that, to actually mingle and stuff. There might be a bit of anxiety to an extent in large groups, let's say, that tie in along with, certain restrictions that might happen. So it's a little bit complex at the moment. I've had to just postpone inevitably until possibly next year, isn't it?
It's like an undiscovered country. Like, we don't know what it's going to be like until it actually happens, which is crazy. That's why these gigs on Zoom and gigs on bits and pieces like that, which I noticed in one of the earlier episodes, you were like, those aren't real.
They're not.
I think anybody who's ever played a gig or tried to do anything over the internet will tell you that those gigs are not real.
Yeah, they're not real. They're all fake. But it's also a different vibe, right? It's different vibe. It's lovely. You're talking about the pre-recorded stuff, where it's with where everybody has their own screen and stuff, and some people think that they're actually performing live together. It's everybody
impossible. Looks lovely.
Everybody looks perfected. They're good videos. They serve a great purpose and stuff, but they're not actually live.
Exactly.
Which is, if anybody tells you that, and some people are saying that it was live and stuff, but it's right now. It's impossible to do that, which is interesting, and I like that. I like the fact that there's something within my industry that is at the moment currently impossible to achieve, and that fascinates me. And I'm just talking to like some random people, producers, people into networking, people into like app design, website design, and I'm chatting to them about this and saying, like, what do you think about, like, how can we overcome this latency and stuff like that? And it's a fascinating topic. I would love to be there while it's discovered, if it ever is.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If it's to do with actually our infrastructure and it's just near impossible, then that's fine, but there could be something to do with some weird roundabout way to make it work, and I'm trying to figure that out along with everybody else.
I do think the next step is when groups of 4, groups of 5 are allowed to congregate together.
Oh yeah.
That's when people will start actually broadcasting gigs from a room.
Oh yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, and do you know what's going to happen? Like, what's going to be big is rehearsal studios.
Absolutely.
Rehearsal studios and venues renting out for 2 hours, like acting, possibly, maybe, behaving like rehearsal studios where you book them for 2 hours, you rent their stage for 2 hours. I might be giving away some shit here, but like that's what I'd do if I was a venue. I was like, I'd start booking in bands straight away and just go use our stage for 2 hours. For max 10 people in the whole bar. We'll give you a private liquor service if you want, but it costs you an extra €200, which is basically the wage of whatever, and get an open bar for, I don't know, like that's what I do if I was a bar, But I don't know. I don't have a bar, so maybe they're just
you set the bar.
I set the bar.
This is it. I also was going to say to you, as we're on this topic, of my Linkin Park tribute group that I do with Tristan Carroll, Jodie Sinclair. I don't know if you're familiar with Jodie, but Jodie has released a fantastic new single as well, which got to number 6 on the iTunes charts. So fair play, Jodie, if he's watching. Matthew Redmond, who is in a fantastic band called Kind. I don't know if you checked them out. They played Shinny a few times, really, really good as well. And of course, Tristan Carroll, who is Shane Pearson, who was who drummed for Scuba Dice at one stage. So it's an all-star lineup.
Cool.
And we do a fantastic Linkin Park tribute show once a year, usually in Fibbers, for Chester Bennington, obviously, since his untimely passing a few years ago. The crowds have been fantastic. The show has been fantastic. We've been packing the place to the door. It's always free in. We collect on the door. We collect with buckets around the place, and we give the proceeds to Pieta House, to the Samaritans. It's not going to head this year, obviously, but we are working on a way to maybe bring our annual tradition to people. So hopefully we can try and get together in a space and maybe do a few songs.
That's interesting. Are you planning? Have there been talks about something? Yeah,
we've had small talks about it. As in, usually the small talks of me and Tristan talk about it on our Facebook thing, and then we bring it to the band. Driving the car.
That's how
we're driving the car.
I mean, somebody has to lead. It's hard to have everybody. Absolutely. Too many chefs. No, but that's awesome. I'd love to have a chat with you about that as well, because I am trying to get into some of that stuff live.
For sure.
Live, especially when the thing gets lifted a little bit. It would be great to sort of work with some musicians, and especially because that'd be charity event, people can donate online and stuff like that. There's so many ways people can donate, and you can give them something back even if they donate over a certain amount and stuff. It's actually it sounds like a lot of fun to work with, and it's for a good cause, which is amazing. What is the charity you guys are donating for?
We've worked with Pieta House, we've worked with the Samaritans, we've worked with a couple of other ones as well. Let me see. It's not coming to my head, but there was 3 charities the first time. There was 2 charities the second time, and we raised like $3,000 both years for it, which was pretty good. Because I suppose it's an interesting one. The reason why we don't charge in, the reason why we have never charged in and never will charge, is because we feel a little bit like you can't expect money if you're almost cashing in on somebody's death for a good cause. So we would let maybe Fibbers have paid for some practicing for us, have done some stuff like that. But we're 100% determined, for as long as we do this, or if we do get to upgrade it eventually, that it will never be something where you'll have to pay in.
Fair play to you.
Enjoy the music in honor of people who've lost their lives to suicide, people who are depressed. Give a bit of money, maybe with a prize or two, and sing along to some new metal classics.
And I've missed every show, and I'm just like, it's something that I'm a huge Linkin Park fan, and
I think so many people are.
I didn't even know I was, like, because I was when I was a kid, like when I bought the Meteora album, and then Reanimation. I think I bought like a pirated version. I shouldn't be saying this. In Poland. In Poland, though, this was when I was a kid. Though I was like 10 years old. You know, I didn't know much better, and they used to. Yeah, I didn't know much better. I'm just gonna go with that. But it was unbelievable. It was amazing, and yeah, and then going back and then listening to even the Jay-Z collaborations, and then listening to all the more recent stuff. Huge. I didn't realize how big of a fan I actually have been throughout my life, and how much he's affected people as well, right, Chester?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great. No, fair play to you. Yeah, I'd love to chat to you some more, man. Obviously, I have 2 more guests I have to bring on. Is there anything you want to finish off with? Anything? You've closed off nicely with the Linkin Park thing, but
I suppose I'm on Instagram at Skinny Colin, Skinny_Colin, SKINNI _ Colin.
Recently, right?
Yes, there's a huge story behind that.
Tell us.
A huge, long, confusing story.
Tell us quickly about it.
Basically, my name used to be Skinny Colin as a drag queen.
Okay, awesome.
And I went to do a drag show a couple of weeks ago, and I put it up as Maximillion Foy, and then I was like, no, I'll do a different one. So I chose Juicy Dangler as a drag name, and nobody had a fucking clue who I was. So I changed the Instagram. I had to change my Instagram to Skinny Colin, and then change it back. And I was like, oh my god! And then a hashtag started going on Twitter. Hashtag Skinny Colin. I was like, I can't change it back now.
That's great. And so, are you going to do any more drag shows? Any more stuff like live ones and stuff like that? Because I think that's amazing. That's great stuff. Like, you've already created this alter ego or whatever you want to call it, whatever you've called it, which is brilliant and it's amazing. And by the way, Fabergé bitch, you can find it. Fabergé. It's a soft J. It's a soft J.
Fabajay.
Fabergé.
That's on SoundCloud under Maximillion Foy. Maximillion Foy, MAXIMILLION, and that's on Facebook. That's on everything else except for Instagram
and Spotify.
And Spotify, because I ain't on that shit. Strangely enough,
be on that shit.
For anyone who doesn't know my old band, the Actual Mafia, we released a record, A Bullet to the Chakra, which has long since been.
It's a great name.
Like, it is, but I don't even have it. Like, haven't had it for years, and I do this thing where I go from site to site. Like, I have Spotify, then my free trial will go, and I go to somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I went to Napster.
Oh,
Napster
wow.
are doing the Spotify thing, and the first thing I ever do is I just type in the Actual Mafia when I go to, and lo and behold, the album is on Napster, which you can get a free trial of to listen to my CD.
Is that still going?
That's still going, but it's like a Spotify type service now.
That's mental. I didn't know that. I'd probably stay on that just for the quirkiness of it. It seems to kind of match your sort of your madness, your beautiful madness.
I don't want to say anything about it because I'm afraid that they'll realize that it's still there and that they'll take it down.
I don't think
at the moment it's my only way of listening to the record.
Like you say, I guess it's official. If it's official, I think I'd say it is now. Yeah, they wouldn't let it go. I don't think, let it keep going, right? But listen, Colin, absolute pleasure chatting you. Thanks for coming in last minute. I appreciate that. It's nice.
Thank you so much for having me on, and best of luck with all your future endeavors.
Oh, don't worry, man. We're gonna be doing this together as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being back in the studio with you and doing some work, and let's stay in touch, man. Let's stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Watch for the bat single.
Yeah.
Bat signal shaped like my face.
The deMars logo in the sky. All the deMars associates unite.
That's for sure, buddy.
Brother, have a great day. Enjoy that sunshine. I'll chat to you soon.
No matter. Over and out.
Peace. Bye. Oh, amazing. So that was Maximillion Foy, also known as Colin Foy. Maximillion, MAXI Million Foy. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook, and his tune Fabergé Bitch, just released recently, is on SoundCloud. I recommend you have a listen to that. It's great, and the production is brilliant. He's doing it all himself at home. I recommend you check it out if you guys just tuned in. By the way, welcome to the show, guys. Anybody that just tuned in, thanks so much for tuning in, and and yeah, having a listen, having been that fly on the wall and listening to what we're doing, all these kind of casual conversations. Started off with Sir Steve-O Timothy. We got disconnected, unfortunately, so we didn't get to say goodbye to him. But if you're listening, Steve-O, had an absolute pleasure meeting you there. He's an absolute gentleman, just an absolute gentleman, and such a hard worker, and he just seems so focused. So fair play to him. He's doing really well. He's cycling for a charity at the end of this month. He's cycling 5 kilometers and he can't walk, so he's been wheelchair bound for 15 years. And some people don't even know that about him. And he's on the bike, so his whole journey is there on Facebook and on Instagram. Sir Steve-O Timothy, fair play to him, an amazing dude.